where's the line between overdoing a sales process and keeping it simple? What's your preference nowadays?
So I agree. I'm myself the whole time, but I do have a process.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Plumbing and HVAC Hustle Podcast with an emphasis on plumbing today. We have the $8 million plumber on today, Jeff Cronin. How you doing, brother?
How you doing? What's up, everybody? How you doing? Oh, good morning.
There's no fucking way you sold $8 million in plumbing, Jeff. Does somebody ever tell you that?
I've heard that several times. Several times.
What do you say to that?
I tell them, I did. And then, for the start there, I did.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised when I did too. I tell them I was surprised when it happened too, and then they ask how, and then they say they heard a bunch of things, and I said, were any of them there? No. Okay, well, I said I did it in the field. Mm-hmm.
What do you think people feel when they hear that? Like, why do people get weird? And then also, like, what are their things that, like, they're like, because when people are doing well, like really well, above average, like way above average, a lot of times people are like, it's like crabs in a bucket. They want to pull down and they want to say, oh, he did something unethical or he did something weird to sell this amount. What do you say to that, Jeff?
Well, I give them a comparison. I ask them if they lift weights, and they say yes. A lot of people do, right? And I said, when you go to the gym and you see the guy lifting more weight than you do, you just assume he's on steroids. And I said, but he was there before you got there, and he was there after you left, correct? So number one, he puts in more work than you. Let's start there.
Yeah.
That's it. Because
all right, so
I'll tell you.
There's a hunt. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. 100 comments on this video. 100 comments on the first video we did together. We went out in the field, did some plumbing sales. You were there doing some role play. Obviously, a lot of people got value, but then some people. I see these comments come in. I just want to like start with this. I want to stress you out to begin our conversation.
No problem. No problem at all.
So, give me a few things. Like, there's a lot of people. They're saying they don't like. They're like, your souls are stained.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, there's an element of like, I don't want to engage in sales, even sales as a thing. That's a lot of the thing is like plumbers not wanting to see themselves as salespeople. Why would you advocate, or would you just say, yeah, live like that? That's fine. Or why would you advocate to say you should actually consider yourself a salesperson? And where's that line between plumber and salesperson?
Any business, there is a sale that happens, whether it's an ice cream truck or a plumbing company, right? Transaction is made. So for somebody to say that they're not in sales, but they take transactions, I think that they don't see business in general. So I don't even dive into that conversation with them because they don't get it. They don't understand, and I'm not there to like beat it into their brain. If they can't see that, then I'm not going to convince them. That's okay. They can think how they think.
The idea of, what about this idea of like, be yourself, stop trying to like hype up the sales process? And I don't know exactly, because you're obviously your own guy, and we were talking to another sales trainer at that point.
Yeah.
The difference between kind of overdoing it on a sales process versus just being super authentic and simple, where's the distinction for you, and what are you? That's an objection. I'm just starting with the objections people have to this.
Sure.
Where's the line between overdoing a sales process and keeping it simple? What's your preference nowadays?
So I agree. I'm myself the whole time, but I do have a process. I don't act like somebody I'm not. I'm not acting at all. But I do have a process. I do have a purpose when I go into a home, right? My process is step by step. It's predictable. I practice it. I've practiced it for almost a decade. So I have it down pretty pat. right? Not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But I'm myself
Can
the
you give
entire
us
time.
can you give us that process? Like, I think this is probably the best use of our time. So if
Yeah.
as much as you're willing to share, I know you do consulting. The company is Primetime Consulting. Get at them, folks. If you're a plumber and you're not working with Primetime Consulting, are you just wanting to flush money down the drain, or why are you stubborn? This guy is a great deal. Even if he's high value, high price, he's a great deal for what it is. You should definitely talk to Jeff Cronin now from Primetime Consulting. What is the .com for that before we give all this value?
Primetimeconsulting.net. I'm on IG, Facebook, TikTok coming soon. I just came up with that one.
Check this stuff out, because if your people are watching this, send them Jeff's profile so that they can just learn for free and then hire Jeff. Anyways, all right, let's go into this process. The plumbing sales process that led to $8 million a year in plumbing sales for one plumber. One.
So Rilla allows you to listen to it's an AI in your pocket, listens to the appointment. It's pretty crazy what it can do. It gives a script, it gives everything they said, it breaks down some statistics for you.
Analyze talk ratio, interactivity, like how you and I are interacting back and forth, long as modeling, like all those things.
Honestly, this is the shit that I most believe in AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Enhancing the
You're
human
about to put
experience.
math and data around something that used to be my magic skill.
So process, it's the call ends the way it starts. I come in, check all the boxes, right? I wear the shoe covers. I introduce myself, all the basics, right? I make eye contact, shake hands. This is the basics. If you don't do the basics, you can't ask for the business later, right? So if you can't do those things, all that other stuff doesn't matter. I make a relationship with the client by just simply asking them, how would you like me to handle this? We have the problem. That's not going to change. But my recommendation will change based on how you want me to handle this. The options are going to be the options. How would you like me to approach this? I'll do it any way you want. So when people say high pressure close, does that sound high or pressure? Not at all, right? And then they give me the path. And then again, I have my process. I know what I'm going to say and do, but it's with their permission.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Drill me down a little bit more into what you feel like is the most important part of this, and maybe do a little role play with me or something.
Sure. Yeah, the most important part is being genuine, being authentic, being able to look somebody in the eye, because if you're too salesy, they're going to know. People can smell bullshit from a mile away, We all know when somebody's, full of it, right? So when I come in, I'm not full of it. And then when I make my recommendations, I'm also not full of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I have to establish myself as an individual that's not full of it before a representative of said company. Does that make sense?
Yes. So it's very simple.
It's very.
I think people
Fastball down the middle.
People want it to be complicated, so can complicate it a little bit more for me. And what else are you pushing when you go into train with people? What are some topics that if you had 20 minutes to get people to sell double this week?
XYZ. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I do, you can present options, or you can really present the options, right? So what I teach is the details in the options. Like the cookie cutter is you give them options. Well, that's great. But what if you still can't sell, right? So what I do is I position the options in a way more appetizing to the customer. I know how to position it with associated payment, and then understanding financing, like me understanding what interest rate is. I know what it is, right? For representatives that don't understand it, well, educate yourself in it. That way, when they ask you questions, you're going to have the right answer for them, and you won't sound like such a novice, right? So it's not what you do, it's how you do it, when you do it, and who you do it with, right? The options are always going to be there. Everyone's going to throw them out there. but to
What
do it in the
percentage
right
of
way.
plumbers- Sorry to interrupt, Jeff. I'm just for the people watching. I feel like I interrupt sometimes. I'm trying to get better at it.
It's all good. It's all good, brother.
I'm eager because whenever I hang out with somebody like you, I'm eager to sharpen myself. I want to be a better salesperson. Truthfully, I want to be a better communicator.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really having these opportunities has made my life significantly better to talk with folks like you. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I was excited when you got at me. I was very excited.
There is this idea of financing. What percentage of plumbers are not offering financing right now?
Man, what I found, if I had to guess, I would say 80% don't. 8 out of 10. They have it available, but they don't offer it like consistently enough to say they really offer it.
And what I gather is true. So I told you about the $18 million roofer. What I realized is that his real sale is different than what I thought it was. Because he does presumptive sales. He's very solid. It's insurance based. So that's not as crazy as $8 million plumber. Or that's a little bit more comparable. He helped 500 plus homeowners, which is like his number that he's very proud of in a year, which is a lot, right? 500 plus. But it's the adjuster. It's the insurance adjuster conversations that he's very, very good at. And I'm realizing now you're not selling plumbing.
No.
You're selling financing. And that's partly that if somebody is looking for a hack, that's the hack.
That's the hack. That's the one, baby.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to say they can't afford it. They're always going to say it's too much. They're going to say those things. So when they say it and we crumble, you don't understand the game that you're playing. Because if you're a fighter, you're going to get punched in the face. That's just that's facts. So when they tell you they don't have the money, don't be surprised. They're not. If they had the money, would they tell you, "Hey, Jeff, nice to meet you. I have the money." They're not going to say that. So be prepared. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I've said it time and time again. There's people that have sold sewers better than me. There are people that sell repipes better than me, halos better than me. I've seen them, right? But they don't sell a payment better than me. Not in the plumbing industry, they don't. Statistically. So I teach it to other people now. I love it.
Has anyone sold more than $8 million in, is this mostly residential, right? No, has anyone sold $8 million plumbing? Besides you?
I found out no. Not under the same setting. Like when we did that video, I just always assumed that I've never been number one in many things in my life. But I found out I was number one, and I was completely shocked because I live like in a little bubble. I'm very private. I don't get out and network like others. But I found out no.
You're gonna be more well networked because people are gonna find this very attractive. But we might find somebody. There might be somebody. I mean, I would
love to meet him or her.
Whenever there's objections like on these things, people are like. One, people think it's the company. We're not talking about the company, man. We're talking about one guy. And then people think, what else? That it's not real. Then people use excuses because they don't like to feel, people just don't like to feel that way. They don't like to feel like somebody's doing 5 times more than them and they thought they were doing good.
No, yeah, I agree. If somebody was doing better than me, like I said, I would love to meet them. I have a different outlook on things. I could be second place, third place, and if I'm doing better than my greatness, I'm happy with it. But I was very shocked to find out that nobody beat me.
So to those folks that have kind of a limited mindset, so we talked about the process. We talked about how important it is to self-financing. That's the hack if you're looking for it. Talk to me about the limited mindset. When somebody sells, let's say 1 or 2, feels very proud of themselves, and then honestly looks down on somebody for selling as much as you sold because they can't fathom and they don't want to think that that's real or possible. What would you say to them?
I would tell them the world's a big place. You work on commission. It says no ceiling on your income. I don't know why mentally we put a ceiling. They told you literally when you applied for the job, unlimited income, right? When you apply, it says unlimited income. You're 100% commissioned salesperson. Why the hell would you put a cap in your brain when there's no cap in your pay plan? We make it up in our own minds. I used to do it myself. I no longer do it because this plumbing industry has given me far more than I ever expected or asked for. I'm forever grateful, but it's because I didn't limit myself. I kept pushing.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, man. I started this podcast off by saying I'm so grateful. I just love a lot of things about my life. I like that I get to network with folks like you. And so I think networking gets to be a beautiful thing. And sometimes people are winning in their own right, but then you kind of like, once you crack out into like, you're going to get more exposed to more like just plumbers and plumbing industry, like around the country. If you're doing content on a regular basis, this is the beauty of it, right? I think content sometimes opens us up to new opportunities and new people that can sharpen us in different ways, because I am always extremely sharpened by these like super high performing salespeople. And then I think they're sharpened by me in some way with like the marketing stuff, right? They're like, oh, this feels good to like learn, what is this kid doing? Like, okay, how did he get 20,000 views on the $8 million plumber thing? Like, so 20,000 is money. That's what people don't realize. And you've obviously, I hope, realized that, but like, if you can get 20,000 views on a YouTube video and there's like something of value in it, then people will want that thing a lot. So obviously people have been hitting you up from that. What do you think that wasn't in that video that we could share a little bit more, just like around your process, why there was an $8 million a year? What else leads to that? Is there any like things behind the scenes that they would have questions about that we could kind of illuminate for them of how that happens?
How that happens, it's internal, like we talked about. It's external with the process, like we talked about. Instead of with the increase in pricing, I adjusted and pivoted myself to, as opposed to saying, everything costs so much and bitching about it. I said, everything costs so much and I work on commission. Does that make sense? So immediately I get a raise. Everything costs so much. And I get XYZ percent, right? We're not going to talk about the percentage. That doesn't matter. But I get the same percentage of a higher number now, right? Perfect. So others see it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity. And so I utilize that. And when they say that's super expensive or that price is too high, I tell them, well, been to the grocery store lately? Have you been anywhere? Or like I'm in Southern California, right? Southern California is expensive as hell, dude. It's just part of what's going on. And then instead of assuming that the people aren't going to pay that or they don't have the money, I just went in there and did the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it was right place, right time, and right mindset.
Yeah, another thing people always say is like, not in my market, and that's probably true for some of them.
I don't think so. I'll share something. I went to Mississippi recently, I think it was last month, and I ran ride-alongs, right? Many sales trainers don't do ride-alongs. I know why. And deep down, they know why too. I think it's great. We could talk about it, but I'll show it too. I promise.
Yeah.
I'll put my money where my mouth is. So anyway, I ran calls with them, right? And I've gone there twice, and when we ran 3 calls, Tim, we sold all 6 out of 6, right? All for thousands of dollars. And on the 6th call, they explained to me that Mississippi is the lowest income rate in the United States. I didn't know this information. I told them, no, you're full of shit. And I Googled it, and they were correct. Imagine if I thought like that every day, because I went in there ignorant, right? Ignorance is bliss. I don't know that it's the poorest state in the union. I just went in there with my process, right? 6 out of 6, and I'm not talking for $500, okay? So it was for higher
Jeff's
than
Just trying to get his fee covered. He's trying to get his fee covered by the sales, so he's not no $500. I mean, there's somewhat of an element of like people think they feel bad to not make stuff so cheap though too. I think that there's an element of like not being guilty about the fact that all this shit is expensive. And as a salesperson, you don't always fully recognize the company is spending a lot of fucking money on little things like your van and like all these other expenses. So like it's not like $500 and they're only giving me this, and it's like $500 and there's a fucking call center. Sorry, I'm swearing so much, but there's a call center, there's a fucking van, there's overhead, there's taxes, there's all the products. And yes, okay, this part is only $50 or $20 or whatever, but like everything, your training, everything that went into it, it's expensive, dude. So stop cheating your fucking company by selling stuff that's no margin and like literally will slowly put you out of business. Stop selling the cheapest thing constantly because you're scared to work for a winning company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to piggyback off of what your statement is, I would always ask somebody who's afraid of that. I'm like, you know the guy or what? Like, who? I said, the homeowner, the one you're feeling bad for. You know him?
Yeah.
And they go, no. And I said, okay. So you feel bad for his family, but if you don't make the deal, then your family suffers from it. And the company that pays you to feed your family, they suffer from it, which means you suffer from it. Like, are you going to go through all that suffer for somebody you don't know who called for this service? I told him, you think way too much. Go in there and do your thing. That's it. So,
and as a homeowner, like, I think some people assume that we're poor when we're not. You know what
Correct.
I mean? Like we're ready to pay what it costs. And I'm not trying to fuck your company. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like, if it's cost that much, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like mad. I just am going to pay. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's like people assume all these homeowners are doing terribly. And yes, there are some people that obviously sometimes that's an issue, but it's also just, you shouldn't assume that you know what I mean?
Not
like
at all.
you shouldn't, you shouldn't assume that they're poor always. Or like people I know, I think about my COO of our business, and he's doing very well, and he drives a shitty car and he has a tiny house, and I know how much he makes. He's our COO.
Correct.
He just lives super simply. You know what I mean? Like, so recognize it's not always exactly what it seems.
Correct. And then, so I use this in my sales classes. I tell them, don't assume when you go in, right? I tell them, if you go to my house, number one, I'm not going to be there. That's number one. I position myself not there because I don't necessarily want to meet you, right? Because I want my wife to trust the person. Like, my wife is the gatekeeper. I am the decision maker. Now, I said, you go into my garage and you will see 10 jiu-jitsu gis on the ground, ready for wash, and you'll see some more over there, okay? Hanging up. Those are the clean ones. Those are the dirty ones. I said, then you're going to meet my wife.
What is it? Jiu-jitsu skis? What is this?
Jiu-jitsu? I train jiu-jitsu. So you're going to see the kimono, the gi,
Okay,
right?
yeah, gotcha.
I said, so you're going to know that, number one, I know martial arts, right? If you're paying attention. I said, you're going to know that he's not here. Here's his wife. I said, and what you don't know is my wife is going to tell you that we don't have the money. I'm the $8 million plumber that works on commission. We have the money, bud. And I'm not hiring the cheapest guy. I'm hiring the person that my wife trusts. That's it.
Exactly.
And that's it. I have no problem paying. Yeah, money's not my number one motivator.
Yeah.
Trust is. And if my motivation is trust, there are other people like me out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, most. And that's the thing, is like everyone has, this is the beauty, the pain of being in the trades, and the beauty is like everyone has been screwed by a cheap ass contractor.
Right.
Like any homeowner who's been around for 5 years has had something not go quite right. So they're already like kind of anxious about that. And that It could be bad, but it could be
Sure.
good because they
It-
know
it-
the point of going the cheapest route. They've done it before.
Still a lot of money chasing these transactions. You know, there's still really good outcomes out there for sellers. It's good to have someone like us in your corner because we're not emotional, but guess what? When you're selling your business, it becomes emotional, and so it's really good to have an intermediary, you know, there every step of the way. www.sfpadvisors.com. All the contact information is directly on the website.
So in that scenario, knowing that, I usually get that out of them by asking.
Mhm.
When I say, how would you like me to approach this? You understand that what you're asking for is the most expensive route. And then they'll say, well, and by the end of it, because I've opened myself to their information, my goal is to have them tell me about that. Right? And then I want them to vocalize it, not me. I don't tell them, well, the cheap route got you here today. That's me pointing at them, telling them they did bad. I want them to tell me about their experience. And then I need to ensure to them that my full intention is to not provide that experience, to have the opposite. But it's going to be opposite in pricing. You understand that, right? And then we go from there. So that's to me, it's a selling point.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily go bad. Does that make sense?
Yes. I know we're going to do more content together. I'm excited about it. And I'm going to keep so comment below if you've got questions for Jeff. We'll ask them on the next show because I'm hoping Jeff collaborates with us a lot on content. We believe in Jeff's plumbing sales process. You should definitely have him consult. You know that there's no way that we could get through all the real content in a half an hour, or 40 minutes, or even an hour and a half. It takes time to build this stuff out. I'm going to keep jumping around here because I'm ADD, Jeff. So the after I looked under the hood, the $18 million roofer, because everyone has all these objections, and so I always like just ask all the questions on the first piece of content now with somebody like this, because this is the biggest thing is people are just mad that people are doing really well or whatever you are.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. Comment below with your objections to selling, 8 million.
Yeah. Can I say something to somebody that would drop a negative comment? Hey, I love debate. We could debate all day, guys. You could say whatever you want, and I swear I'll reply. And we'll go from there.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That would be huge because I think that seeing somebody living and talking about it, because I think that people just don't meet these guys. And I've just had the pleasure to meet a bunch of them. And the other thing is like what I've found is a lot of these guys are really cool. And that's what I don't think people realize. And I don't know about Jeff. Jeff seems pretty nice to me. I'm still getting to know him. But when I've hung out with people for a while, I'm like, that's who I want to hang out with. I want to hang out with not only people that are selling a lot and winning a lot, like same with company owners that are like doing 50 million. Some of them are like annoying. And I actually care. I actually who I want to hang out with and be like, why? Because I already plan on winning. I already plan on winning and I am winning. I maybe not as much as some of these people, but I already plan on winning and I want to be nice. And it might seem like a kind of like, oh, that's like soft or bullshit or whatever. It's like, sure, but if you're already planning on winning and you're gonna be winning, like let's aim a little higher than money.
Yeah.
So that's my mind on this.
That's what I'm getting into now, because by the time this airs, I'll be full-time sales training, no longer in the field. I found that I got more satisfaction from watching others win, I swear, than winning myself. I swear. I could always go rock in the field and make a bunch of money. I've done it. I accomplished and I overcame that challenge. Now I have a new challenge. And, you can't sell forever. You're not going to want to be in the field selling forever. And, somebody smart told me this a few years ago. I could teach forever. I know I can teach forever, and I just share with them the real deal. Many sales trainers out there that I challenge the fact that if what they're teaching is the real deal, and a lot of them don't teach plumbing. There are HVAC guys that teach plumbing. No offense to them, right? I think a lot of them are super great at what they do, but I found the
Yeah, I mean,
niche.
I'm gonna keep messing with you a little bit on that one because I know that you probably because the best salespeople learn from everybody. So I'm sure you've pulled
Correct.
really good things from. I don't know. I'm challenging you on that one because I love my.
I've been through many great sales trainings. I was blessed, and I'm thankful that I went through them. Right, so I learned a lot, but so I picked little things out of each one. Right? Do I agree with all of it? Well, you're never going to agree with all of anything, right? But I'm the guy in the room writing down all the notes. I'm the guy in the room doing all that because if I'm going to be there, I'm going to make the best out of it, or I just won't fucking be there.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying. That's what I always say to my employees, like, as far as like wherever you are, do your best and like go hard because you're practicing. Like, let's say you have a different dream. You know what I mean? And you're gonna go somewhere else. And I tell them to fucking have a dream. Have a dream. I don't care if it's not here, that's fine. But develop it. Take steps towards it. Do what you can. But then in this job right now, practice how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because if you're half-assing this, you're gonna half-ass your dream.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct on that. If you don't have a dream, that'll never come true.
So the thing I was going to ask about is there anything else behind the scenes that we didn't know about? Because one is we're selling financing, y'all. We're not selling plumbing. We're selling payment options. Or how do you refer to them?
I have no problem using the word financing, right? I don't, sugarcoat it. I come in, we have financing, but what the words I say is it makes it much more manageable. I use the word manageable, not afford, not like, could you manage? Yeah. And then I show them this.
I like that.
It makes it a lot more manageable.
That's nice. Because I can afford it. I just don't want to afford it right now.
Or it's offending or it hurts them or it makes them feel a type of way that isn't positive, Yeah. I don't know how it makes them feel, but the word afford is very, I don't know. I think it hits them in a spot that I don't want to hit.
Yeah. So the question, okay, so I'm sorry, I'm giving an example again of this $18 million roofer. I realized that year that he did that, his wife and his kids helped. So they were behind the scenes doing some paperwork with him a little bit. And like he said at the beginning of the year, he's like, it's a storm year. So it was a big storm. And he's like, so we're gonna do this. And then we're going to do this big vacation at the end of the year. And, his wife's badass. She was like, I interviewed her specifically about this. And she's like, I think of him like, you could tell she thinks of him like her weapon. She's just using him like a bazooka. And it's like good. It's good. Like, cause it's like your wife thinking of you like, I know this man can make an enormous amount of income. I'm going to support him. How is your family involved, or is there any other things that like are kind of crazy about how you were able to manage that amount of sales in 1 year?
I will tell you, my wife is my support system. She is my rock. On my bad days, because there's going to be bad days. It's a high stress. You bring it, they say more money, more problems, right? Well, I had a lot of problems. It didn't come free. So it was a rough year. It's a huge stressor on any relationship, but a marriage, oh my God, right? So my wife has taken the backseat many times. My wife knows the plumbing business better than most business owners. I'll put it to you like that. She's heard all the closes, all the stuff, and she's married to me, right? So she can tell me, hey, you're being lazy, or hey, you got this. Things like that, Just
to delineate it so everyone has it and we don't have to belabor this, because on future pieces of content, we're just going to ignore this stuff and people can comment and whatever. But any other, like, what are the support systems in a business that were able to get you to sell that amount without like being in the weeds so far? Like, I'm guessing there's some support on how things got done, or
of course.
what is there anything? Yeah. What else was the support system? Because there'll definitely be plumbers that like do it all in their business, and yeah, you're not going to be able to do 8 million if you're doing it all.
No, you'll die before 2 million if you're doing it all yourself, like,
Yeah.
so it was a team effort. So I did it with a team of technicians, right? So I had people. Without them, none of that happens. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Number two, I did it with 2 different companies. So I did 10 months with one company. Something happened over there. I switched companies, but I kept the same the same team. Also, at both companies were great companies. So it's not like they didn't provide me the opportunities, right? They did. And they had all the stuff in place, all the proper equipment, everything. I'm not saying it was perfect, because none of these plumbing companies are perfect, and don't let them tell you they are. But yeah. So nothing was perfect, but from the call center to the install team to the people that pull the permits, it's a true team effort. No, you don't win a championship by yourself.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. But number one is my team. I have quite a few guys. They know I would have never done it without them. No way in hell.
Yeah. So just to round that out, because I think that's a beautiful thing. I think some people think of if they're in a business where they have to do it all, we're not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like, why would you recommend splitting out these duties as time goes on if it makes sense for them? Like, where's the distinction between a company that's the plumber is doing all the sales, everyone, the people doing the work are doing the sales, versus this method? Like, why would you recommend that? And what would you say that's still uncommon in the industry?
Turnover process? You mean turnover process versus selling tech process? Okay.
Yeah.
Selling tech process has been around since the first plumbing job was signed, right? For specific companies, they do good with it, right? And it's not like I'm saying how a company should do it, but if you sold 42% higher per Service Titan data, would you want to do it that way and pay the guy 10% commission? Or would you want to just keep doing it the same way? 42% on Service Titan in 2024 and 2023, 42% higher ticket when the call is turned over.
Okay.
So, the proof is kind of in the pudding, but the sales guy has to be on it, right? And he has to be part of the contributing factor towards the higher ticket.
If somebody was switching over that process and hadn't been doing it, like they were realizing now that they're kind of being an idiot. No offense. I'm just to the audience. I'm just kidding. Okay. You're just relax. If you're kind of like, you realize, because I've had things like that recently in my business. That's why I'm saying that. Like, I've had things in I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? This is so ridiculous that I didn't do this sooner.
Of course.
What in that transition might be more difficult for them than they might have thought? And how do you know how, have you been a part of a company where it was in that switch, and how making that switch, you can make that switch easier?
Yes. So the biggest challenge is the buy-in from the people that were struggling to make the sales, right? I could sell it myself, and so that service technician that was in that position to sell thinks that they can do it themselves, but this is the same person struggling. So it's hard to reach that person from time to time. Does that make sense? And then the guy that comes in and sells, it's kind of like the guys that are, if you're at the top of the board at a company, the guys at the middle or at the bottom of the board hate on the guy at the top, right? The guy at the top doesn't hate on the guys at the bottom. So there has to be a team buy-in. There must be, and there has to be a mutual respect, and it's not always going to work with the personnel you have, unfortunately.
Are you open to helping people roll this out if they're in the other model?
Yes. So I'm currently, I do classes with, I think right around 15 companies currently. Many of them are transitioning into the turnover process, the channel leader, the field supervisor, whatever the title may, project manager. That most of them have the title project manager. That's cool. And I teach that, and I bring in my top turnover tech. I said, now you go talk to the techs. Me, I talk to the project manager, because there's no better turnover tech than my top guy, right? We'll take the Pepsi challenge with anybody, but there's no better to teach them than him. I can teach it, but he could teach it better, so I bring him in. And then for the project managers, there ain't no better than me, if not where we're from. So there's no better to teach it than me, right? So I tell them to set the expectations. He teaches them how to meet the expectations, and boom.
All right, Jeff, where could somebody go to check you out if they wanted to get started?
Fastest place is IG, website, primetimeconsulting.net. Many people that are probably watching, like, just drop me a DM.
And if you want us to do a role play, a plumbing sales role play, comment below and we'll do that video for you soon. And also comment below if you think Jeff should fly out to Plumbing Hacks in Florida at the end of the month. I think you should just come out there, bro. Come on, just come out and do content.
What date is it? You popped it up on me when you said Plumbing Hacks. I'm like, what's that? Where is it at? What's the date?
So Plumbing Hacks, apparently something else comes up when I put Plumbing Hacks in, but plumbinghacks.co. It's 10th annual. I don't know how big it is really, but it's a little trade show. Wednesday, July 30th to Saturday, August 2nd. I'll be there like Thursday and Friday doing content, running around. It would be dope if you felt like running around and doing content with us. If you came, I'll do a branded mic with Primetime and Hook. And then we'll just we'll run around and interview people about like plumbing sales topics and how to get more business. And we'll do a bunch of videos from the event. And I'll be your camera guy. I'll be your camera guy, and we'll just run around and do a bunch of content.
It sounds dope, but I mean, we're like 4 days away. I have to check with my boss, the missus, and see what our calendar looks like.
It is 4 days away? Oh, shit.
It's 4 days away. You said at the end of the month. Yeah. I was thinking you were talking August.
Oh.
You're like, it's July 30th. I'm like, dude, that's like 3 days from now.
I travel a lot. I'm so sorry. It's
all good.
That is crazy. If you do come, that's crazy that you come. But anyways, you know what? We'll put this out Wednesday. So what up, Plumbing Hacks? I'm there. Or it's good to see you. I hope I meet you and come up and say what's up. Do content with me, and I hope to do more stuff with Jeff. Comment below if we should do more stuff together. Appreciate y'all.